His name is Gareth, and he riffs bits. His name is Gareth, hence why it's Gareth's.
Good evening and welcome. This is Gareth's improvised stand-up comedy. See, the way this works is people have sent in suggestions that I haven't seen, and I riff on them for your pleasure. My name is Gareth. I riff. It's Gareth's. It's very creative. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you people, make sure you subscribe by hitting that bell. Ring the bell, like you're quitting the Navy SEALs. And this brings us to our first segment, which is Riffs Just In. So how this works, every week I riff on 3 crazy news stories picked out by my producer. Again, I've seen none of them. Let's start. Person in giant penis costume ejaculates on the street in Melbourne. Melbourne, not Melbourne. The picture is just of like it just looks like a guy in pink pants and a penis. That's all I can describe it as. So he gets in a giant penis costume and he ejaculates on the street. So there's a little more. Okay, so let's see. A man dressed as penis has gone viral after ejaculating on Melbourne Road. Great, very helpful. So I guess the question is, does the costume ejaculate or does the man inside of the costume ejaculate? If it's the man inside the costume ejaculating, major problems with this story I have. And I'll do a lot of these like Yoda would say. Major problems with this story I have. If this guy is in a giant penis costume, and I guess if that's your fetish and then you come, like he comes inside the dick, that sounds very weird. I never thought I would say did the man come inside the dick? It doesn't seem possible, but this man might have come inside the dick, even though the dick was a costume. Now, if the costume jizzes, this is a showman. So if the costume jizzes, then this guy completed. I mean, period. He just completed. So I would be more supportive of the costume ejaculating. I mean, first of all, if you're just putting on a giant penis costume and going for a jaunt, might be time to break the pod. Maybe open your world up a little bit. Might be time to, like, if you're spending so much time alone that you're like, I need to put on that cock outfit and go for a jaunt. Yeah, pull the reins. But I mean, again, if he's doing that, then great. Then he's just created a costume that can come. But if he's coming inside of it, also harder to arrest. How do you know a cock costume comes inside? Do you just see the cock sort of just shiver and you're like, that dude just jizzed. That guy just jizzed, I could tell. I saw him. He did the jism shake, You know the jizz shake where you're like, ugh, that's just like, whoa. The quick, ooh, yeah, it's cold, right? Just very quick. So if you see the dick shiver a little and then a wet spot pops where the penis is, cuff him. Okay. South Carolina woman credits her faith in God for helping her out of QAnon. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine being a QAnon believer? Let me put it this way. Can you imagine believing in a fake person who is there to kind of make sure that everything you want goes according to plan and that you're going to, that this person is going to help you from the inside and that they're able to sort of, make problems for you go away? So you have that, and then you have God. So it's absurd. I mean, really, abandoning one fake person who isn't real for another fake person that isn't real. I was so lost. I was believing in Q and that he was real and that I seen the light. Oh, that's great. So you now don't believe in make-believe shit anymore. No, I believe in a man in the clouds who has a beard and takes care of all my pets that have deceased over my lifetime and all of my relatives. And when I go there, the Lord, who is a man, 100% a man with a white beard and mandals, potentially Tivas, will have a little Airbnb section of his cloud mansion marked off for me where I shall be able to rest. And when I'm done, all we'll do is eat cotton candy and reminisce about the times we had on Earth. And your body is the same as your peak age. So if you were happiest at 26, then you're 26 there. And that belief in that real system up there has made me shake the belief in the fake one down here. It's like, what? Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we got to believe in something, right? Got to believe in. Is it weird? Can I just start believing in Santa? Is that possible? Can I just start doing that again? Can I start going like, nah, I believe him to be real. I hate to do it, but I actually now believe Santa is real. He's a real guy. He's a man. You know, I feel like I should be able to do that now. I feel like we should all be able to do that. Why can't Santa be my God, right? Honestly, can he not? Can I not worship the Easter Bunny? When someone's like, do you believe in God? Like, my God's the Easter Bunny. You know, that feels like it's fair. Okay. Oh, good Lord. Scientists now know why wombat poop comes out in cubes, and I don't get to know. That's it. So that's the headline. So what a fucking vexing situation this is. So scientists now know why wombat poop comes out in cubes, and that's it. And that's all I get is just that screen grab. Okay, good, because I don't really want to know why they're cubing. Maybe it's because their anuses are freezers. I don't know. But yeah, for those of you who didn't know, wombats poop cubes. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's different for sure. Yeah, it looks like novelty ice cubes. And scientists somehow know why. So, by the way, I mean, science has had a really big year, you know, coming up with the vaccine. And, you know, they've really done a lot in 2021. But I do like that a sect had carved themselves out to go look at the anus of a wombat and decide. And by the way, my guess why it comes out in cubes, because the asshole shapes it like that. That's why. I mean, how hard is that? That's got to be what it's connected to. You know, they just got down there and they're like, crikey, it's like a square. And they were like, oh, that's why it is. You know, right? And by the way, if I had my druthers, for sure I'd poop cubes. Way better. Love to poop cubes. You know? What, we should call it pubes. No, we shouldn't. I just heard myself say it. And let me retract that immediately. We should not call it pubes. Okay? We do not need people pooping pubes. I'm going to go take a pubes. No, does not have a good ring to it. You should see this picture of this wombat, by the way. He looks so passed out. He looks like he just cubed his ass out. So yeah, so there you go. So scientists now know and we have no fucking clue. Okay, on to our suggestions. This week's guest suggestion is from the great Dave Hill. You can find him at mdavehill on Instagram. You can listen to the Dave Hill Good Time Hour podcast, which I was on recently. And his latest book is called Parking the Moose. He also has a great book called Tasteful Nudes, which my mother adores. She loves that book. So Dave Hill, give him a follow. Also banned from Twitter, I think for saying he'd fuck someone's mother over a Trump. So anyway. Line cutters. Good one. Yeah, it's a problem. Line cutting, the line cutting makes sense because they have now made too many lines. The problem is that we peaked. We had a time when it was super convenient. Life was super convenient. There were not a lot of lines. If there were a lot of lines, other people would open up. Let me help you with something. Not anymore. Now you see a fucking 30-person line. You just see employees dead-eyed behind the counter because they're not getting paid enough or getting benefits just like. Well, you're like, is this a fucking joke? This is the return line at Target? This is fucking crazy. So lines have just become longer, bigger, longer. Like, you know, when you call a place now, the time you're on hold is absurd. Hold times got so absurd that companies are like, hey, can we call you back? It's like, what the fuck? That is crazy. So lines have gotten worse and worse and worse, and people are more and more agitated. And so, yeah, this, of course, leads to the inevitable line cutting. People who are going to cut in line. And, look. Sometimes you have to cut in line. Like, I've been at the airport, and there have been people who are like, I'm going to miss my flight. You're like, go ahead. You know, you planned poorly. I've also been at the airport and been like, I'm going to miss my flight, and had people help me. What I don't like is when it's line cutting for convenience, you know? Like here's a classic one, right? There's one line, and there's two cashiers open, okay? And there's a 4-person line, and you get in the 4-person line, and then someone just goes, oh, look, an open cashier, and walks up. And the cashier doesn't really say anything, but you're sitting there like, well, what the fuck? If it's the Wild West, then it's the Wild West. If not, get in the line, you know? And it's important to speak up. You should speak up, because these people know it. They'll fight you. They will fight you. Line cutters will fight you, you know? Hey, sir, you know, the line's actually back here. Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, man. You're like, yeah, pay for your check mix, you fucking dickwad. But that's the problem. And the problem is that in this country, and probably in the world, but really in this country, we reward dicks, you know? So it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So it's the person who's pissed and the most annoyed and the person who's willing to stand up in front of a bunch of strangers and be a whiny asshole. It gets rewarded. We reward it. You know, you see people skip, they get rewarded. You see people complain, they get rewarded, right? Those who speak up get rewarded. And it's a flawed system. They should be flogged, right? If I come up there and I go, I'm sorry, this is taking forever. You shouldn't say to that person, would you like a first-class ticket? You should say to that person, would you like me to flog your scalp? Shall I crack your skull? But yeah, in this country, we're rewarded. Oh, go, yeah, cut the line. You know? Same thing with the 12 items or less line. Boy, a lot of people fudging that number. A lot of people think 15's 12, 20's 12. It's not. 12 is 12. I'll do it. You know? If I'm like, I got one thing extra, I will wait in a longer fucking line. Rules are rules. All right. Thought this was a society. What conspiracy theory do you think is true? I mean, there's a few that I'm like, yeah, maybe. I mean, I think there's aliens, but the government's basically come out and said as much. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they killed JFK. I'm trying to think what other ones there are. I mean, I believe in the biggest conspiracy. You know, I believe in the one that probably most Americans don't believe in. I believe that we are ruled not by our politicians, but we are ruled by a ruling class, elites, that the politicians are just there to carry the water, that their strings are actually being pulled by, you know, not necessarily some evil person, but they're being controlled by a bunch of billionaires and trillionaires who know how to oversee the future and know what they want to get out of the system and know that they need to keep the bottom line where the bottom line is. And so I believe that there's been a corporate takeover of our country and that we are no longer run for the benefit of the citizens, but for the benefits of companies, bigger companies, big, huge companies. And I think a lot of people think that sounds fucking crazy. But to me, I'm like, it's pretty fucking obvious, you know? That's why politicians don't do anything. That's why they never do shit. That's why they're always like, it's so hard to do stuff. And you're like, but your whole job is to do stuff. And they're like, it's really hard to do stuff. And you're like, but do it. You know? They can't do it. Because that's why I love watching Democrats get so pissed. They're going, God damn Democrats, what's their problem? It's like their problem is not even a problem. It's a choice. They've created the choice. So yeah, I believe that one. I believe that one to be true. I believe that one to be crazy. So there you go. Falling in public while on a date. Well, I feel like falling in public with a date is maybe better, you know, because there's at least someone there to share in the embarrassment with, right? As opposed to when you trip in public and you have to, you know, there's a few things you can do, right? You can look at your shoe or you can look at the place. What the hell happened? You can keep going. I do the keep going. Have you ever full on fallen and then just got up like nothing happened? I've done that many times. I remember one time when I was working in Boston, I was hosting at a restaurant and I was leaving work and I had my backpack on, and as I was stepping over a little fence, it was in Boston, so it was snowy, and my foot slipped and I hit my knee so hard and I fell. And a few people were like, oh, now I was like, I've broken my leg. I was like, my leg is broken. And I still got up and was like, hey, walking while I was just like, it felt like someone had put a hot kettle on my calf. I was like, ah! But I still just was like, hey, everything's fine, you know? And also it depends what kind of date. Is it a first date? Is it, you know, are you a couple? If it's a first date, yeah, it's embarrassing, but there's so much worse shit you can do on a first date than fall. I mean, you know, make wombat cubes in your pants. That's more embarrassing, you know? Yeah, be on the phone the whole time. That's more embarrassing. I'd rather someone trip than be on their phone the whole time. But yeah, so yes, I think falling in public while on a date, bad, but not terrible, right? And if you said tripping in public on a date, I'd be like, I like a girl who takes mushrooms, so that sounds good to me. Forgetting the towel for your shower. That is a good one. Yeah, I mean, normally that dawns on you, like, maybe, like, halfway through the shower, you're like, the towel, shit. And so you're sort of planning what you're going to do. There's a few options. They're not good. I mean, look, essentially you're going to look like you just mopped your floor no matter what, right? Depends how far you got to go for the towel, right? How far do you have to go for the towel? Like if the towel's in the bathroom, not too bad. If the towel's in the hall, you're like, oh, son of a bitch. When you live alone, the naked part isn't a problem. Right? You know, you can do it. When you live with someone, you got to do the cup. You ever do the cup? I'll do the cup sometimes if I'm naked and I'm going to walk by my window. I don't know, but I'll do the cup and I'll just kind of, grab as much as I can and then just kind of race past the window. I mean, forgetting your towel in the shower is almost like when you ever had that situation where either you or like someone you're rooming with or you're dating, whatever, forgets the toilet paper? That is worse. You know, you ever had that where someone's just like, hey, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, what are you doing? You're like, nah, I'm nothing. I'm just watching TV. Like, think you could grab some toilet paper? And you're like, oh, God, you dirty animal. What are you doing in there? You know? Or if you live alone and you got to get toilet paper, you got to do this sort of like hostage crawl to your cabinet, you know? You just like, you just realize there's no toilet paper, and then you're like, well, this isn't good. And then you got to seal crawl somewhere, you know? It's embarrassing. I'm not trying to, I know I don't sound cool right now. That's not what this is about. It's about honesty. Yeah, so that is, those are all similar. So I'm sorry. This one has been gross so far. I apologize. We started off with square poop. I don't know what to tell you. Houseboats. Yeah, weird. Yeah, you ever been struggling to make that decision? Do I want to live in a home or a boat? Well, houseboats are for you. Houseboats combine all the problems of home ownership with that of one on an ocean. That's right. If you've ever thought to yourself, gosh, I wish my house could sink, have we got an answer for you. If you ever thought, boy, I hope I could tie a rope around my house, have we got the spot for you. If you ever thought to yourself, I love my home, but it doesn't have a goddamn steering wheel, look no further. We've got houseboats. Houseboats. From the people who brought you ice rooms, we've got houseboats. Houseboats. For those of us who thought, yeah, I like to sleep on a water bed, but what if I had a real bed while doing it? Houseboats. Houseboats. Pretty easy to do. How about apartment yachts? Ever tried those? Not as good. Houseboats. The only place that you can put a home on water. Houseboats. But it is weird. What a weird decision, you know? My home's a boat, you know? It's like, we never talked about that as a society. I don't think we okayed that as a society. We never were like, okay, so and if you want to have your home on the water, if you want to have an ocean home with a motor, go for it. It just feels like people started doing it, you know? I get it, but also, God, there's just so much more danger. You imagine waking up and just being like, oh shit, we didn't tie up the house. Where are we? You know? Shipwrecked, I've heard of. Home wrecked? Our house crashed on an island, and now we're here. Here we are with our home. It's like, yeah, now you just have a home. Your house didn't wreck. You now have a home. It's like, what are we going to do? A house on land? Has anyone ever heard of anything so absurd? It's like, no, you live there now. This is what most of us are doing. Well, how do you go to the Bahamas when you want to? We leave our stuff. We just leave our stuff. What? Yeah, so that's houseboats. Fucking, it is a weird thing. Houseboats. Okay. Oh, do I need to change over? Oh, no, I'm good. Okay. A gaggle of geese, a murder of crows. What is a group of Josés called? A gaggle of geese, a murder of crows. I would say a group of Josés are called a jiggle. Just a jiggle. A jiggle of Josés. If you see 6 or 7 Josés, that's a jiggle. A jiggle, because, yeah, when they trot or next to each other, there's a little bit of jiggle going on, you know? Maybe you could call it a jello, but I would say a jiggle. A jiggle of José's is a pack of José's. You know? Shit, we better run. Why? We got a jiggle of José's. Oh, shit, to the houseboat. Start the motor. Let's drive my home somewhere else. On water. But yeah, so I would say a jiggle. A jiggle feels right. Okay, so that's it. Whoa, what's going on there? America's Funniest Videos. Man, that show used to be the best. That show was so good. Bob Saget was at his peak annoying, and I still watched it every week, you know? It really was. It was actually created by Vin DeBona, who went to Emerson College, where I went. But, yeah, it was really like YouTube. It was like audience-submitted YouTube, and there were judges. One of the things that's crazy is that if you send that video into America's Funniest Home Videos, they own the fucking rights to that forever. So from now on, if you send that in, that's it. Any profit, that goes to them. That's how Vin DeBona is so goddamn rich. But it was great. I mean, it was really, I think America's Funniest Videos was like, it primed us for what we really found funny, which was people getting hit in the balls. It just became the funniest. It was like funny before that, but you just had never seen it at that clip. You never, like in a week, you never were like, I'm going to get to see 30 dudes get their nuts ruined. You just didn't get that. And then America's Funniest Home Videos would montage you with just, wiffle ball to the balls nonstop. You would just be like, enough, uncle, this is too fucking good. But yeah, it was a great show. Great show. I mean, I'll still even watch that show. But yeah, it's obviously some of the shine has come off. And then they had America's Funniest People. I don't know if you remember that. They had the spinoff America's Funniest People, and that was hosted by Dave Coulier. And that show was really weird. That was where it was like, people would like show off that they were funny versus, America's Funniest Home Videos, organic accidents. This was people intentionally going for bits. And I tried to get on America's Funniest People. Oh, yeah. Wayne and Garth. My buddy and I, we did Wayne and Garth. And all we wanted to do was be on America's Funniest People with Tawny Katane and Dave Coulier, and it just never happened, Never happened. In my head, I was like, this could be the launching pad I need. America's Funniest People, the Oscars. I was like 10. I knew how it worked. Who would you impersonate for an SNL audition? I don't know. I mean, I guess I would do... I would probably do David Attenborough, some of these calcium deposits are some of the largest on planet Earth. Or I could do like a Gordon Ramsay. It's not good enough! Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think who else. I never even think of it like that. Like I do so many impressions of my friends. I don't know who I do impressions of, like, famous people. Oh, I could do Boris Johnson. Absolutely. I was looking forward to trying to absolutely get that together. Yes. They're all English, and they're all older English people. So that's the lane I've carved out for myself there. I don't know who else I could do. Yeah, I don't know. If you threw it out there, I could give it a shot. I don't know, though. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. 3 older English dudes. Very loud neighbors. Man, let me tell you, it's the worst. It really is the worst. I had a situation where I moved into an apartment and, was like, okay, yeah, nice place, cool, getting everything set up. I had my buddy Steve over the next day after I'd moved in, a Saturday. Steve comes over. And we're hanging out in my living room, and we're literally just talking at about noon. Just shooting the shit, just like, oh, yeah, cool, yeah. And then I hear, like, a scream from next door and, like, banging on the wall. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what could that be? What? And Steve's like, is that about us? And I'm like, no. I'm like, it's noon on a Saturday. We're allowed to talk. But then I hear banging again, banging, screaming. And I'm like, that is about us. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go next door and see what's up. Because in my head, I'm like, maybe this person is a bartender and they work late and this is just like a Saturday thing or whatever. So I knock on the door. They scream, your neighbor is trying to fucking sleep. And I was like, oh, really? And this was a crazy person. She was crazy. She was totally just like I don't know. I felt bad for her, but I felt bad for me too. So what would happen is I would be watching like TV at a regular volume, and she would start banging on the wall and screaming. So what I would do is I would put on the first John Wick, and I would go to like the middle of the movie. There's a fight sequence, and I would put that up to about 90. And I would just let it play out, and she would go crazy. But then at the end of it, I'd pause it, exit, go to the TV I was watching, put it down to a reasonable 35, and then she would shut up. Sort of my way of being like, do you want me to flex the muscle? And that did seem to work to some extent. It was also just so fucking entertaining. Hearing like, while she's like, I was like, this is good. This is a good time. Is everybody having fun? Surprising cheese additives, e.g. mango. They're putting fucking mango in cheese? I guess. I don't eat a lot of cheese. So I'm surprised by that one. I don't know. I did not know. I mean, I love cheese. I do miss cheese. It is so fucking delicious. But yeah, I didn't know they put mango in it. I used to love a cheese plate for dessert. That used to be my favorite, was just to get a cheese plate for dessert. My brother is one of those weirdos who like loves cheese. And you know what those people love? The people who love cheese, they love like stinky cheese. There's people who are just like, I like it stinky. And you're like, ugh, who says that? Besides a wombat scientist. But who really is like, I like it to smell and taste like bad feet. It's like, that's just not for anyone. You know, my brother, like, he wants, like, I mean, cheese is mold, so already it's mold. But then for people to be like, I want it really moldy mold. You're like, what? You know, and they have those, I mean, like, blue cheese? Oh, fuck off. That should not have happened. Right? And I know some people are like, blue cheese is so good. It's like fucking gross. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I didn't know they were tossing mango and cheese. That is weird. I don't know what they're doing with cheese right now. And I'm from Wisconsin, so that is what I just said. I just blasphemed. Convenience store hot dogs. I feel like we've talked about this a few times on here before, but yeah, I mean, literally, go somewhere else, and you'll get something else for that price, and it'll be better than the 7-Eleven hot dog. You know? When you go to 7-Eleven, what do you see behind the counter? I don't see chefs. That's for sure. I don't see people that I'm like, yeah, I like this line cook. No, I see like, you know, I mean, they're cashiers. They're there for that. You don't need to go to that section. Oh, the taquitos rotating in that hot sweat, you know? They've been there for weeks, just spinning, just like, I one time was so hungover at the airport, and I don't remember what I was in line to buy. Probably like a lemonade or something to spike my blood sugar to like give me the comeback I needed. And not kidding, from watching a hot dog rotate and sweat, I was in line for probably 2 minutes. It was enough for me to get out of line and go throw up from watching this hot dog just fucking bead sweat, just like it was running some sort of triathlon. But man, disgusting. So yeah, I mean, like that, and you know, like you go to a baseball game, you know, people get them there. Like I've done that before, you know, that's okay. But you're in that's when you're like, if you're in a movie theater and you're like, I'm hungry for a sandwich, but then yeah, whatever, get your fucking hot dog, you know, eat your ground pig. But at a convenience store, you're in the world. You're out. You don't have a ticket that someone needs to check. You are in the world. Go somewhere. Go anywhere else. Go to another location. Go next door. Go to the laundromat and eat some fucking lint. It'll be better on your stomach than eating one of those rotating sweat fucks from 7-Eleven. Ugh. Jesus. Like, even hot dog manufacturers are like, 7-Eleven hot dogs? Gross. So, yeah. So, there you go. I just always think that. Like, you know, I mean, if you're in line for a 7-Eleven hot dog, you should also be in line for some toilet paper. Right? Please eat something different. Eat a bag of Fritos for your dinner. Judge Judy, highest paid person on television is Judge Judy. She's made so much money on that show. And I get it, you know, it's compelling. She's very, you know, she's vicious. She's a good judge. And there was a time when we had a lull with judges. We had like probably a 10-year break. And then they were like, we're bringing back the People's Court. Or maybe the People's Court kept riding throughout. But then they just started. Then there was like the summer of judges. When they were like, you like judges? You want to meet Judge Judy? Judge Judy Shineland? You want to meet Judge Joe Brown? You want to meet Greg Mathis? Greg Mathis, the judge who was on crack, and then at his mother's deathbed, she made him promise that he'd quit, and he quit. Judge Greg Mathis was my favorite judge show to watch because I never felt like he was more of like an instinct judge. He knew the law, but he was way more gut than anything, and he was not afraid to ask the weird questions. You know, it'd just be someone who just, like a relevant thing. Like he would just love the story. Like if there's something saucy, he would love it. You know, she would be like, well, and then I met the defendant and we started dating for a few months and I went to a party that he was throwing and I ended up kissing his sister and he lost his mind. Irrelevant to the case. Judge Greg Mathis will go, whoa, 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 whoa. You saw them kiss? The guy would be like, yeah, I saw him kiss. He's like, all right. Were they using tongue? He's like, I mean, I don't know. He's like, what's the tongue? Man, we're using tongue. We were using tongue, Your Honor. He's like, all right, little tongue. Like that, it's like, I like that. Like perv judge. That should be a show in its own right. But the truth is that those people, I believe, already get compensated, and most of them are just fucking like there because it's bullshit. Can you imagine having an actual legal case and then being like, yeah, I'll take it to TV? Actually, now that I say that, I could totally imagine it. That's why she's the highest paid fucking judge on TV, the highest paid television performer. British soap operas. Oh, well, British soap operas are almost Australian soap operas. When I would go to England as a kid, the biggest soap operas in England were Home and Away and Neighbours. Those are the two biggest, both Australian shows. And they were like, it was just like, Aussie problems, just like, Christ, I really hit my back down at the beach the other day. And it's like, when did you talk to Candice? What has she said about it? I don't know. I haven't even talked to her yet. You going to eat the rest of this sandwich? No, I'm not done with it yet, Clark. What are you up to? It's just like that. Like nobody really, that was all they would watch. Carnation Street was the other big British soap. But really, for the most part, it was like, Neighbours. That's what we watched. Neighbours was on 2 times a day. It was 6 months behind in England. But I'd come over and I'd be like, what's going on? And they'd be like, that's Annalise. She's in love with Jason and they're cheating on everyone. And I'd be like, wow. And he'd be like, look, Jason, I know you're cheating on me. What are you talking about? I haven't done anything like that. Well, you talked to Kimberly the other day and it sounded like you were after her. After her? I would never be after her. I've got no interest in her. I told you, the only thing I'm interested in is you, my love. Yeah, you say that, but the last time I talked to you about that, Dad seemed a bit upset. Well, your dad's always been a bit off with me. Well, because you're kicking off on him. I was kicking off on him before I met you, hadn't I? And English people would be like, God, Australians are fucking nuts, aren't they? They're fucking crackers, the Australians. But then, yeah, there were others. Carnation Street was one. I remember I went to the set of Carnation Street. I went to, like, Hollywood, England. And it was, for someone who lived in America and had been to Universal Studios, it was a letdown. I mean, you need to know the show, And they would just be, it just was not, was not all that interesting. I'd just be on the tour and they'd be like, and that's where they shot that famous scene where someone asked for 1 cube and they gave them 2. And I'd be like, oh, good, great. So, yeah, I don't know. That's probably not a good, I didn't really talk about anything much. East Coast versus West Coast hip-hop. Well, fuck. It was tough because, when the East Coast, West Coast feud was going on, I was like, I like them both. I think, I was like, I like both Biggie and Tupac. But the feud was crazy. Like, people forget how crazy the feud got back in the day. Like, at the, I think it was at, I'm not sure. I feel like it was the Soul Train Awards, but maybe I'm wrong. Suge Knight, it all comes down to the fact that Suge Knight was fucking crazy. That's where you started. Suge Knight was crazy. If you don't know the story of Suge Knight, it is fucking nuts. Suge Knight was in the NFL. He was drafted into the NFL by the Rams, and he was good. And they were like, yeah, 2 or 3 years, Suge, you might be someone. He was like, 2 to 3 years, fuck this, and he left. No joke, left the NFL because he was like, no. And then he just kind of started this label. He kind, however it happened, it was not very. I mean, it was kind of organic, but it was like he got Dre in, and then you have Dre, and then the whole thing's off to the races, right? And then obviously when Dre and Suge got Tupac out of jail, Tupac jumped ship. That's when it really started. Once Tupac became West Coast and he was part of Death Row, that's when all the Biggie shit really kicked off. And part of the thing is that Biggie and Tupac used to actually be like cool with each other. There's pictures of them together. But there was also like maybe the beef was inflated to sell records, but then it did get so fucking nasty. So the whole time I was just like a fan of everybody. I mean, I honestly, like, Biggie Smalls is one of the greatest rappers of all time, and so is Tupac. I like Biggie a little bit better, but the older I get, the more I like listening to Tupac. Yeah, and the truth is, what happened was once those two dudes died and were killed, murdered, then it seemed like everyone was like, okay, we could chill out now. And it was over fucking nothing, Dre left Death Row finally, and Suge held Vanilla Ice over a balcony and went to jail. I believe Suge is still in jail for one of his multiple murders. But yeah, at this point, I don't identify East or West Coast anymore at all. Like if I like someone, I like someone. So there you go. Yeah. And to be clear again, the Biggie and Tupac were, dead, killed. By the cops, maybe. Streakers at Pro Sports. Streakers at Pro Sports, great suggestion, and it is a great thing. It is a great thing. It is a pastime. There are two great parts about the streak. The first part is when you realize there's the streak. You're like, yes, oh my God, a naked person, yay! And it is better if it's a naked woman for me personally, but I still get a kick out of a guy. Seeing a dude just penis out, just running along a field where he's not supposed to be, it's just good comedy. So that's the first part. The first part is you get the endorphins from being like, oh yeah, naked guy running. The next part is when you go, when's he going to get tackled? When am I going to see this dude get dick tackled by a bunch of guys 3 times his size? So you have the guy running and he's like, yeah, distracted the game. And then the guy's dream starts to kind of get enclosed a little bit as he's like, oh shit. And he's kind of got to run away from people. You've never really been in a naked chase. It's kind of a first, right? It's probably a little easier because there's not pants or anything, but still, you're outnumbered. And then, the crowd goes crazy when the person gets tackled. So once the dude gets tackled, then you're like, woo! I don't like how the cameras go away. Fuck it. Show it. Cameras go away. They're like, don't give that person the credit and the attention they want. Show it. It's hilarious. It is so funny. And sometimes players get involved. That's when you know you're fucked. If I was a streaker and I saw like the linebackers salivating, I'd be like, all right, guys, let's all relax a little bit. Okay, sorry. So Streakers Pro Sports, I'm a big fan. I've never thought of doing it myself, but man, have I tried to egg people on to do it before. What a feeling that must be. It's a younger man's game, too. I think you got it probably 32 or below. That's when you streak, 32 or below, Yeah, and I don't know why they're so violent. It's not like you have a weapon. That's obvious. Unless you've hardened your penis as some sort of spear. Moving from Wisconsin to California. Well, I didn't actually move from Wisconsin to California. I moved from Wisconsin to Boston, Boston to California. Very weird. I think the thing about moving to LA is that it is a place that has all this cachet. So you're like, oh, I'm moving to the big city, big guy, And then you get there and you're like, oh, it's just like a shithole. But I drove from Boston to LA with a girlfriend, and we had a U-Haul, and I had a cat, and we had a cat up front. By the way, U-Haul, worst company, never fucking use those idiots. But this is years ago when I was like, I know nothing. And then I used them a little while ago, and I was like, I still know nothing. But I had my cat up front. I taped the cat's water and food down on the ground, and then I had its litter box behind one of the seats, and the cat just fucking got it. The cat was just like, all right. The cat was like, we'd be in like a turn, and the cat would be in the litter box like, I'll still poop. And I'd be like, this is a great cat. But yeah, it's a hell of a drive. And then I've done it a few times. I did it one time with another friend of mine. It's weird. It's definitely, when I first moved to LA, it was the first time where I knew nothing about a place. Like when I moved to Boston, I was an idiot. and I didn't know anything, but I had the dorms. I had other people to walk me places. LA was the first place where I moved, and like my girlfriend and I were like, we want to go see a movie. And I was like, I literally don't know how to make that shit happen. So yeah, it was weird. It's certainly culture shocky, but leaving Boston in January for palm trees, my apartment complex had a pool, I was like, this is fucking great. So yeah, it was weird. I mean, certainly when I go back to like Milwaukee, like people find it very strange that you live in LA or California. When you live in LA, it is what it is. It's just, it's that fucking place. So, most memorable moments from Gareth's. Shit, I don't know. I don't remember any of this shit. I don't remember anything. I think some of my favorite bits were when I don't know. I really don't know. That is the thing about the podcast or these. Like, I don't remember shit. I really don't. Like, I see stuff and I'm like, what? I said that? Think about it. I've been doing this for almost a year at this point. We've been doing this for almost a year. And I still am like, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, it is fumes. I see things and I'm like, yes. I do remember talking about how I free spiders. I thought that was funny. The first time I did it on YouTube and nobody could hear me, that was painful. Yeah, I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. What are your most memorable moments from Gareth's? Yay. José does ASMR? Oh, man. Well, I don't know what he would... I would rub his fur on it. I'll give you a little José ASMR at the end. How's that? I'll give you a little microphone, as we call it. Microphoning. That's right. But yeah, I think I would probably... His actual ASMR would probably just be like... You know what? It's not going to translate to a live show. You guys are like, I'm not hearing anything. So, Cat Gang. Cat Gang was a clip I posted this week from last week's, and a lot of people got on board with the idea of us being a cat gang. It's strange for me because I just got a cat. Like, I've always had cats, but I've had dogs too. But yeah, I've been a cat guy for a little while. And the cat strength, the cat group is strong. When people are like, we're cat people, you're like, well, I like dogs too. They're like, fuck dogs, we're cat people. You're like, okay, we're cat people. But so cat gang, and then a lot of people are like, cat gang, I love the cat gang, we're part of the cat gang. So I guess we're a cat gang. And if you have a dog, you're welcome, but we're the cat gang. And I don't know what that means, but we're part of the cat gang. And we do things how we do it. No bathing unless it's with your own tongue. No bowel evacuations unless it's into some sort of sandy-like substance. No licking unless it feels like grade 40 sandpaper. You'd be terrified about everything. Your back twitches sometime. Your tail wags. It means you're upset. The slow blink means you're not interested. And all we do is pine for the electronic feeder. We are the cat gang. Okay? You know what we should do? We should get leather jackets that say cat gang, and they should have little cat tails hanging out of them. We're the cat gang. And we should feel the freedom to give them a little like, one of these little, one of those moves. So if you're part of the cat gang, great. And if it means a lot to you, then we'll maybe make some shirts. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know what people want anymore. I don't know what you want anymore. Blackouts. Ah, yes. My 20s. Blackouts. Blackouts are crazy, right? To think that you could consume enough alcohol that you leave your body. Your soul leaves your body. You're told that only happens when you die, but here it is. You go on a blackout, your soul leaves your body. Really hard to black out unless it's involving hard liquor. Right? I really think that's true. Like, I don't think I've ever blacked out from wine, maybe just beer. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever just full-on blacked out from beer, but hard liquor will make you black out. And a blackout is quite a thing. Because sometimes you have a brownout where you go, I kind of remember that, but I kind of don't remember that. I don't really remember going to bed, but I remember getting home. Blackouts are when you wake up in bed and you're like a time traveler. You just wake up and you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What? What is this? What year is it? Who did this? Whose beard is this? My fingernails. Where am I? But yeah, they're fucking bad, man. When you wake up with a blackout, that's some fucking guilt. That's why you can't black out over like 35, I'd say. You know, that's probably around when I had my last blackout. I just found out about greyhounds, vodka and grapefruit, and I'd taken a number of edibles. Next thing I know, I fucking woke up, and my friends were like, how are you feeling? All my texts, are you home? How are you feeling? You okay? What did you do? I'm like, oh, shit, you know? And yeah, my last blackout, I was like, that has to be the last time I black out. I cannot fucking do that again. You know, you get too old, at least in public. If you're going to black out, be a professional and do it at home alone, right? By the way, how much better is the movie Home Alone if it's an adult on a blackout dealing with criminals? I like that movie a lot, you know? But yeah, I mean, they're dangerous, man. Fuck blackouts. And then when you see someone blacked out, you're like, oh, fuck this guy. You know, like when you're dealing with someone on a blackout and you know they're gone and you're like, I can do whatever I want. Like I could just like smack you, throw you in a tub of water. Like you are gone. You are no longer of Earth. And you can tell when someone's blacked out because their eyes, right? Their eyes are like. I had one friend who used to get blackout drunk and he'd get naked. And we would say he had Billy Idol face. Because he all of a sudden, that's how you know he was drunk. He'd seem fine, and then you'd just look over, and he'd be like, and we'd be like, uh-oh, he's got Billy Idol lips, and he'd be like, He'd look like he was about to do like a Mick Jagger impression. You know, that's how we knew he was about to lose it. He would just be like, and you'd be like, oh, he's fucking blackout drunk. Next thing you know, you turn around, then you'd look over, and he'd be naked, squatting down there like a Terminator who just came from another time, nude. You were like, oh, God, no! Just sitting there totally fucking buck-ass naked. Then the next day, you guys want waffles? You'd be like, do I want waffles? Dude, I saw your anus last night. The fuck are you talking? Do I want waffles? Yes, of course I do. Dating someone who doesn't recycle. Well, I mean, it's fucking easier now because the recycling doesn't go anywhere. Like, so much of the recycling, it's annoying. And yes, I would find that problematic. If I saw, like, someone I was dating throw plastic in, like, a plastic water bottle into the garbage, I'd be like, but I also wouldn't be with someone who would drink fucking plastic water bottles, you know? That's the easiest thing to cut out. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's like when someone's rude to the waiter or waitress, you know? It's like on that level of like, oh no, you know? And I used to be such a dick. I worked a job when I was on Hoops, and I had to like get a recycling bin, and I put up a note and everything, and even then, like the adults acting like recycling is so hard is so fucking crazy. You know, they just like take a big thing of food and plastic and then they put it in the garbage, and you're like, in the recycling, you're like, no, you don't, they don't fucking recycle your salad, you know? Which is another thing I love about liberal Hollywood. Like, you work on these shows, man, they don't give a fuck about, they order lunch in plastic, they fucking eat the plastic, they don't give a shit. Nobody gives a shit. That it's gotten to the point with this stuff where I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, I don't know what do people need to hear or say to be like, we are in a climate catastrophe and we need to make major changes, you know? But yeah, but it is what it is. This is how I lose people on the dollop. I can't talk about this. Snorting Pixie Stix. I never snorted Pixie Stix. I ate Pixie Stix. I do know that they came in a straw, which is what cocaine should come in, right? Just like a oneer. Cocaine shouldn't come in a bag. Cocaine should come in one straw. So you're like, oh, perfect. Off to the party, just a kick. But I never snorted Pixie Stix. I snorted Altoids. I did snort an Altoid once or twice. And then I snorted a lot of Ritalin. But I never snorted Pixie Stick. Altoids burn, but boy, your nostrils have never been fresher. The breath from your nostrils. You'll be like, someone's like, ooh, you know? You sneeze and someone's like, am I in the Alps? But yeah, so I never snorted a Pixie Stick. I would imagine it would fucking drive you crazy. It must burn like shit. Those are, you know, by the way, you don't need to snort them to feel the effects of a Pixie Stick. You can just eat them. That is pure uncut sugar. That is Pablo Escobar Pixies. You know, that is just, right? Absolutely pure, you know? So that sort of shit. Misplacing your phone under your cat. That is very relatable to me. Yeah, it's not even that I misplace it. Normally what happens is I'll have it near me, and then he'll come over, José will come over, and he'll like lay on my side, and his butt will be on my phone, and I'll just be like, because I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb, so it never rings or anything, so I'm just like sitting, like I'm like, he's going to be there for as long as he wants. And then, and the thing about a cat being like cuddling with you is very precarious. A dog, you could be like, move, and the dog's like, I'm good with whatever. A cat, if you're like, can I just do that? The cat's like, the energy has changed. I'm leaving forever. Goodbye. So you got to just let it sit there, But yeah, you don't know what to do. You're like, is it possible to? And then you like, the cats are very sensitive about their bellies, especially if they're overweight. So it's like if you touch the cat's belly, the cat's like, oh, you want to fuck with me? And it's like attacking you. If you go to the cat's belly, so if your cat's belly is on the phone, you're like, if I'm going to get it, I will be clawed. How worth it is it? It's actually a great way to quit texting so much or checking Instagram. Just put your phone under your cat. Never look at it. Okay? Okay? Robert Pattinson is the new Batman. Yeah, I don't know what I give a fuck less about, Robert Pattinson or Batman. I don't know. It's like, it's such a big thing. I mean, how many more fucking stories can we hear about this fake Bat? I'm sorry. I know people love the shit. But I'm just, I'm like, how many more times do we have to see this shit? I think Marvel movies are a big part of why we perceive the world in such a faulty way. We're like, that's why we're okay with calamity, because we're like, don't worry, a hero will be here soon. It's like, no, we are not, there is not someone coming down from the sky who's going to rescue us, So I feel like people have that Marvel mentality where they're like, it's just an evil person. Iron Man will take care of it. And you're like, no, he fucking won't. But yeah, I just don't care. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. Good for him. I know they're shooting during COVID, and he got it. So, Batman got COVID, and they shut the whole set down. If that doesn't crush the reality of the world, I don't know what else does. Batman can do anything. He's sniffling. Shut down production. So, yeah. Good. Whatever. Another Batman. There'll be 30 more. Doesn't matter. They'll just keep making it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, I don't know. I don't give a shit. Oh, boy. When do you think you'd be comfortable going to a packed gathering, live show, concert, even movie theater, even if masks were worn? I mean, I'm not comfortable with that for a while. I'm not, I obviously, if I want to go on tour, I want to start doing shows. I would love to be able to do that again, but not until you feel safe about it. I mean, honestly, in this country, it's bad. Shit is bad. So there are some places that are saying you might have to show your vaccination proof to get into a show. It's all very dystopic. I mean, it's fucking crazy. So I don't know. It's going to be a while. It's probably, for me, probably not going to be this year, in this country at least. There's a chance I might go to another country, and if I go there, I'll feel comfortable because it'll be one that's a good one. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, people don't seem to want to take this shit seriously, and so I'm just being abundantly cautious until then. Yeah, I don't know. Masks help for sure, but if you have a theater of people, there's going to be people who aren't going to want to wear masks. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. And you also don't want to have shows where people are going to get sick. I don't have any interest in being one of these people who finds out that someone at something I was doing had COVID and gave it to 5 other people, and 2 of them are in the hospital. I personally would not be able to live with that shit. Some people seem to be able to do it, so more fucking power to them. But, I guess at this point we live in a country where you can do whatever the fuck you want. So people can do whatever the fuck they want. Mine probably 2022. At earliest. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't with this suggestion. No, you didn't. Who are you? How do you know me so goddamn well? Who are you? Kim Cattrall scatting while her husband plays bass. Who did this? This is my favorite clip. If you don't know this clip, where Kim Cattrall is playing stand-up bass with her husband, scatting, you don't know existence. You don't know life. You thought you did, but you don't. It is remarkable. Remarkable. Nothing better than someone who knows nothing about jazz or scatting. I mean, truthfully, Kim Cattrall knows more about throwing poop around than jazz scat. But yeah, okay, this is how it goes. The clip goes like this. It's like 3 minutes, and it just opens with her like, yeah, no, we really try to like find each other's rhythms, and it's nice. And by the way, she's standing there with her husband, who she's now divorced from. So it's like, yeah, we love to create music. We just create so much music, all this stuff. And then so she just is there, and he's like, boom, 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 boom. And she's just like, oh, Yamikipiebo, Satirificabo, UJ Safsaray. She says that, and then she also does, well, he winked at all the he-dogs, blinked at all the she-dogs. The town had never seen such a hullabaloo as the little man played on the man that day. It's something like that. It's fucking great. Go check it out. I don't know what to say. It'll make you love Kim Cattrall. It'll make you go, Kim Cattrall, you are so out there. Yes. Yes.
I read poetry and sonnets, and he plays the upright bass.
Yamikipiebo, Setterefacabo, in dog Latin, me quoth, UJ, Safsaray! Well, he bit all the he-dogs and winked at all the she-dogs. The town never knew such a hullabaloo as that little dog raised till the end of that day.
We just have a good rhythm together, you know. He sort of feels me out, I feel him out, and we go for it.
So, I mean, I like to make prank phone calls. That's a guilty pleasure. I like to make them to the White House. That's a guilty pleasure. A lot of times I like to slowly pull every hair out of my arm. It's just the guilty pleasures. A lot of times I'll lay down if I have to pee, and I'll try to pee in my mouth. It's a guilty pleasure. It's just one of those weird little things I do. Sometimes I put socks on my hands, and I walk around on my hands all day, and I go, I got hands for feet. It's a guilty pleasure. Sometimes I'll put a bunch of crayons in a blender and then just drink it and go, that's good protein. I just have a lot of guilty pleasures. So I have a lot of favorite guilty pleasures. I like to smoke 3 cigarettes at a time. It's a guilty pleasure. Sometimes I just walk around and pretend I'm Dax Shepard. It is a guilty pleasure. I have a lot of guilty pleasures. Feeling like you're going crazy because everyone is acting like COVID is over and you're still trying to take it seriously. Yes, that is how I feel. I feel like that. I feel like, we're close. My mother just got the vaccination today, actually, so that fills me with some relief. But, look, people are sick of it, and I understand that people are sick of it. Most countries, what they did was they paid people to not be sick of it, and that's a really good incentive to not be sick of it. But this country doesn't give a fuck about people, so it gave them one payment of $1,200 and is maybe going to give them another $1,400. I don't know. It's dumb. But yeah, I do feel crazy. I feel like, I'm gonna do everything I can to not get it, and I feel like I'm in the minority. I hurt my hamstring really badly a couple months ago, and so I went a few times to someone to get like some physical therapy on my hamstring that tore, and the last time I went and saw this person, she was talking about how she was going to go to a bridal shower, and she just had to do it for her and all that stuff, and I was like, this will be the last time I see you. I see you. Get used to that term. But yeah, I mean, the truth is, if we were at the finish line, I'd be like, everyone just hang on for 2 more months. But we're not. We're not. This country is not into vaccinations. This shit is going to be with this country for a fucking while, I think. So, positive attitude. Doge Coin. Doge Coin, another one of those stocks that just went fucking crazy last week. Yeah, I mean, I'm all in. I'm fucking into it. I love fucking with hedge funds and all that shit. More of it. But it just shows you how powerful the force you're going up against really is, because they were able to stamp it out pretty fucking quickly. There needs to be more of that. But again, I won't get too political because people hate that shit. But, change is not going to happen from inside our government. So, Let that sink in, because that is true. Change is not going to happen from inside our government. So we need massive change, and it's not going to happen with the system we have now. So what are you going to do? It's tough. It's a predicament. Anything we can do to motivate our 17-year-old son to pass his classes? I mean, yeah, there is. For sure there is. I mean, incentivize, you know? Give him a fucking kick-ass. Tell him you're going to buy him a hot tub. Something like that, you know? And then maybe you do, maybe you don't. Or you can also do this. You can also, like, look at it like this. I often have to say this to my father when he's talking about his children and stuff. Is this 17-year-old a good kid? Feel like they're on the right path? I mean, do they know what they're going to do? You know, if you feel like you have a good kid, don't stress so much about that shit. You know, it's a really weird fucking time. I see it with young people that, like, you know, I'm related to who are really struggling. And, you know, don't be a huge ball buster. Look, I'm a good example. My mother tried to get me to fucking do my homework by any means necessary. It wasn't happening. It was not happening. So sometimes there's people that you can motivate, sometimes there aren't, you know? But if this is someone who knows what they're going to do or has an idea of what they're going to do, fucking let it rip, you know? But I would say, yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I was told everything. This will be great for your future. This will help you become a man. All that didn't matter. I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to smoke Camel Wide Lights. So, you know, I don't know. But good luck to him. Good luck to him. Would you trade 5 years of your life if José could talk for 5 minutes? Wow. That is truly a fucking great question. Would I trade 5 years of my life? Like 5 months I would do. 5 months, no question. 5 years? I mean, I don't know how old I'm going to live to be. Doesn't feel like that old. So I'm like, 5 minutes. You know, yes. Here's why. I'd film it and I would make so much fucking money. I would live on a houseboat. So I would. And man, imagine those first words. You know, as soon as I'm like, okay, and the notary's like, all right, he will legally give 5 years. And José's just looking at me just like, all right, it's good to finally talk. I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd spend 4 of the minutes going, this shit's crazy. This is crazy. But yeah, I would totally do it. I would totally give 5 years of my life to hear the little man talk for 5 minutes. I don't know where the fuck he is, by the way. I'm already nervous about that. After school detention. Terrible, but this person is obviously a good student. They don't know about Saturday detention. Saturday detention fucking sucked. Saturday detention was like raking leaves and shit. After school detention, yeah, it sucked. I mean, it always sucked, you know, but it was like, I was getting detention for so much stupid shit at the end that I was like, this doesn't even matter anymore. You know, it was just like I just kept getting arrested for the same shit. I was like, I don't even care. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think one time I remember in probably 6th grade, a teacher doing the thing where the teacher's like, say it again and you'll have another. And I'm like, all right. And she was like, 5. And I was like, all right. And she was like, 6. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you know? But like in front of the class, just got like, bam, 6 detentions just for being like, I don't care. But yeah, it sucked. I mean, I was talking to my mother about it the other day because we were looking at some pictures with my brother. And one of them was me on the couch, and I'm in my corduroy pants, and I've got a tie-dye shirt on and my Stussy hat on. And I was like, that was after school. I know because I could tell that it was a shirt I would wear under my school shirt. And I could just tell that it was like after school. And I just remembered so viscerally the sensation of wanting to leave school. When I left school, it was the best feeling. I mean, it's like what work is, but you're so much younger. So you're like, fuck. I mean, I would leave school and I'd be like, holy fuck, I get the whole night. And then the weekend, I'd be like, oh my God, the weekend. And then a break, I'd be like, oh my God, a break. And then summer was there. And I'd be like, oh my God, I get 3 months away from this shit. And then when I was done with high school, I was like, holy fuck, I can't believe it's over. You know, it is torture. We put kids in the worst situation in the world at first. And I think partially by design to be like, you want to work in a factory, don't you, Tommy? You know, but it's like, that's what we do. I think it is just pure, you know, they got to get up at like fucking 6 a.m. I've only had a few jobs where I've had to get up at 6 a.m. And man, oh man, I wasn't 12 when I had them. Fucking nuts. So yeah, after school detention. There you go. Okay. Regional American accents. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there's a lot. There's certainly a nice, you've got a nice palette in this country here. I mean, you can start in California where it's a little more like this and like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, that's pretty sick, Then, you move a little south and it just gets a little more Texas, a little different, yeah, that's right. That's a little more like that. That's the way we perceive it over here. Keep moving south, you got a little further, good, you got your Oklahomas, then you get to Louisiana, you go to a little Cajun, a little Cajun guy, something like that. Then you go to Florida, and the Florida accent is obviously like blah, 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 blah. And then you move from Florida, you go up the West Coast, you can find yourself, yeah, that's right, it's like New York, we're going to do it, you got to do it like that, it's going to go to New York, it's going to be so great when we finally go downtown. How sick is it going to be when we finally get to go downtown, like right in the heart of Brooklyn, like that's going to be so sick. Then, you could go a little bit further, like think about Boston, like I always used to take the bus from New York to Boston, and it was just like a sick ride, kid. Dude, it was so far. I used to take the Chinese shuttle. Dude, if you had to take a piss, you had to piss in a fucking bottle, okay? You had to piss in a fucking, like, LaCroix bottle or, like, an Aquafina bottle, okay? And that was how you relieved your fucking bladder, kid. Then, I mean, you move back into the center of the country, you got to get back in a little bit of this action. All right, cool, that's right, Midwest, represent Great Lakes. Great state by a great lake, Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes. Doesn't matter, don't worry, going to go to the Yooper. No, we're going to go down there. Don't worry, we're going to fish. Where are we going to fish? It's the winter. We're going to cut a hole in the ice and get the goddamn fish out of it that fucking way. The hell are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about? I asked you a pretty clear question. Go fuck yourself, Todd. All right, sorry. Yeah, so, yeah, those are some regional American accents. There you go. And we reached the end. Okay, so now I've got to determine which one Dave Hill's suggestion was. I'm going to guess it was either Falling in Public, Houseboats would be good, America's Funniest Videos. I'm going to say that he picked Streakers, maybe? Oh, man. I'm going to say that maybe Blackouts. This is very hard. I will guess that he did America's Funniest Home Videos. It's a crazy guess. Surprising cheese additives. Damn it. Damn it, Hill. Damn it. Okay, so very quickly, before I go and find this sexy beast, remember the Dollop has a show on March 18th, live Dollop show. The following week, March 25th, I'll be doing some stand-up from my home. Who knows what the fuck I'll talk about. And then remember, we do In the Green Zoom shows. Go to YouTube, watch the Pandemics. We've got a special one coming up this week and next week. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like I said. And then if you want any merch, you know where to go, GarethReynolds.com. And take care of yourselves. And now let's find this sexy beast. Give me a minute. Okay. It was not easy to find him. That's for sure. Look at this. To help with everything. This looks like a ventriloquist show. Okay, so here it is. Here's my little boy. There he is. My little boy, he's hungry again. My little guy, he wants to know the food is coming when. My little man, ooh, he loves to eat. He don't feel right. He won't feel complete. He's a groggy little baby who's a black and white cat. And he wants to turn around so you can look at him like that. He's got a song to sing. Sing it, baby. Sing it from your lungs. That's why my boy is a cat who writes songs. I love my angel boy, My angel baby, he's the one who fulfills the spot for a lady in my life. He's the best. He's a guy. Look at my man. He's a pie. He's a seer. Look at him. Here you go, Instagram. Get a good look. Suck it up. Look at this. Look at this little baby. Ah. YouTube. Look at this. Look at this little guy. Well, guys, another one in the record books. We did it again. I don't know how we keep doing it. Some say it's José, some say it's me, some say it's a combination of both. But all I know is this little man and me, we appreciate y'all coming by. Don't we, sucker? Say hi to everybody. He's so calm. Look at this. Woo, woo, woo. 16 pounds of pure love. That's what I got in my arms. 16 pounds of pure love. He is full of so many charms. 16 pounds of pure fuel. This cat moves like a mule. 16 pounds of pure fun. This cat walks and sort of runs. 16 pounds of looking up. 16 pounds food a cup. One day he gets a food a cup a day. 16 pounds of pure steel. 16 pounds of pure steel. This is my man, he's waving at will. Look at my boy, oh yeah, how we feel. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, guys, he's not going to claw me or fight me tonight. I don't know what's going on. He's happy. He's happy for some reason. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming at your home and staying here, whatever. Thank you again. Thank you to everybody who helps me do these. Ta-ta, bye, bye.
His name is Gareth.